Hey there, AJ Mahara here, keeping it real to help you heal, and trying to remind you that you need to feel the fear and feel your feelings anyway. Feel the fear and get into therapy anyway. Feel the fear and go no contact from the borderline or the narcissist anyway. Feel no fear, go no contact from a dysfunctional narcissistic cluster B family of origin anyway. And if you want less, you'll suffer less. I just happen to have the shirt on, so I thought I'd tie it in. But if you want less, you'll suffer less. And how do I want to appropriate that right now to meaning here for you? Well, if you have codependency and you still want that borderline because of this, because of that, hot sex, whatever it is, you want what you want. And besides the sexual component of adult relationships, a whole lot of what you want, right? You want more of what you hoped the person that you thought the borderline was going to give you, right? Like the adulation and the idealization of the mirroring of you. That you were the greatest thing since sliced bread until all of a sudden you weren't. And then what happened? So then the question could be asked, who do codependents really love? After you love this person who you thought they were, and then you realize they're not really who you thought they were at all, then who are you still loving? Who are you still missing? Who are you still longing for? And beyond the trauma bond reality, and beyond the fact of codependence, beyond that you've been re-traumatized, and that longing, the answer to why you're longing, you can find in therapy because it goes back to family of origin. But so you're wanting more, not less, of that person with BPD. There's a reason for that. Because to varying different degrees for people who have codependency, so some have it moderate, very few, in these relationship types and trauma bonds. Some have it significantly, some have it severely, codependency. And when you're in the significant to severe range of codependency, you want more, don't you? And no matter what you've been through, you're still loving whoever you thought they were. And you want them back, and you want to be hoovered, and people go, I can't go no contact. Yeah, it feels like that, but the words I can't means I won't. So what are you doing? You're running from your own pain, and you're wanting more from the borderline. Why? Because it's the way that you're not going to have to face your pain. You get to be the fixer. You get to be the rescuer. You get to be the enabler. You get to be the one that feels better than the borderline. Right? How many people with codependency, if they really got honest with themselves, wouldn't have to admit that they feel like they're a better person than the borderline? As if that should even be measured. So you want more, and you want more of the same, because that's all you're going to get when you get more. If you get back with them, or you stay in touch, or they hoover you, or you reverse, or stealth hoover, all those things. But if you want less, you can suffer less. And what do I mean by that? When you stop wanting more from the borderline, or you're still engaging them, or still not no contact, these various things, you're still wanting more. You're wanting a do-over. You're wanting it to work out. You're fighting for love. There's no love where there's abuse. There's no love in a trauma bond. So what are you fighting for? What are you wanting more of? You're wanting more of the same of what you've already gotten. Not consciously, because you're like, yeah, I want more abuse. No. But it goes back to why you have codependency. When you want less, especially where the borderline's concerned, you will suffer less. When you stop trying to understand BPD inside out, ignoring codependency, ignoring yourself, abandoning yourself, when you want less from them, as in you go no contact, no thank you, no more, then you're going to suffer less, because that's the pivot point. That's the big, difficult, and it is a very emotionally painful, difficult, feeling impossible situation that so many people with codependency are still in when the BPD relationship is happening, or it's on off, or it's over, but it can't be over, or you're recycling the darn thing over and over again. Whatever's going on there, if you have codependency, you want more. You're going to suffer more. If you want less, and you go no contact, okay, then you're going to turn into your own healing recovery journey. That means you got to walk into your own pain. The pain that's happened in the trauma-bonded relationship with the borderline, and the re-traumatization that was, and what does that mean for your childhood and your core woundedness, and why do you have codependency? So when you get into that process, you're wanting less, and you will, through that process, suffer less over time until you stop suffering altogether and you heal your core wounds, which are just replayed out in the trauma bond with the borderline. So when you want less, you will suffer less. That means wanting nothing from the borderline. But you've been programmed in childhood to want from the significant other, from the other, because you don't know how to do it for yourself. Emotionally speaking, meet your own needs. A lot of people with codependency don't even know what they want or need emotionally. So this isn't about your intellect. This isn't about what big career you have, which lots of people do. Codependency. It's not about the big company that you own. It's not about how much money you make. It's not about any of that stuff. It's about the fact that all that's going well in your life. Good, great. But codependency has stunted your emotional growth. And you are not fully an independent, emotionally healthy, mature, independent person. And that's where you deserve to be. So want less, as in really no more to do with the borderline or the narcissist or the BP, NPD, or narcissistic dysfunctional family of origin. Want less, as in radically accept that it is what it is and what you need isn't there. And then find your way to therapy, find your way to this process, and I'm out here to work with you if I resonate with you, and that will help you to be able to get out of all the pain you're in from wanting more. As you turn and pivot to the choice point of wanting less to suffer less, so you can find more for you and want more in understanding and healing yourself, to come to having a healthy, functional relationship with yourself. And yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think most people would agree, but a lot of people won't hear me yet. A lot of people don't want to hear these kind of videos. But I don't know how much longer I can do videos on YouTube that just go in the borderline this and the borderline that, the borderline the other thing. Because I think you already know that, don't you? If you're a codependent. But what about what the codependent does? What about the codependent this, the codependent that, and the other thing? Because I'm not saying it's equal in these trauma-bonded relationships, but if you want more instead of less, you're going to get more of what you already got. So you need to want less of that, none of that, to want more of something else, to suffer less. Anyway, that's keeping it real to help you heal. That's pretty straightforward. It's what every one of you is going to have to conclude at some point in your life. You're going to have to make this choice to feel the fear and turn toward yourself, get into therapy in your own healing recovery process, learning to focus on you, not the borderline, so you can heal and recover from childhood, family of origin, core woundedness, and what happened with the borderline or the narcissist. And until you make that pivot, that choice, it's full no contact, no contact. You might get into therapy first, but then working towards no contact, full no contact. And until you make that choice for yourself, you really don't have self-respect, not emotionally. And you're hanging yourself out to dry. And you're increasing your own suffering. And it's not all the person with BPD's fault. You have your responsibility in your codependency. Not responsible for what they did. But if you're still not seeing your way to that choice point to get into therapy, which is the only way to heal and recover from this, is therapy. Not 12-step groups and other nonsense out there. If you're not willing to get into therapy yet, if you're not willing to make that pivot and that humongous choice that is scary and that feels next to impossible, then you're not in a want less, suffer less position yet, because you have to turn into facing the adversity of your own pain. Yes, from the relationship, but more to the point, from your childhood and the intersection of the two, because they replicate. One replicates the other. That's where there's an overlap of codependency with BPD as well. People with codependency externalizing out what they need, rescue, fix, all this, to the borderline. Who doesn't want to be rescued or fixed? Might be looking for that through object other parent representation. All this is going on in the unconscious until people know better, like the codependent knows there was somebody with BPD who's not in treatment, and you can't expect that a relationship would work out even if they went to years of treatment and you sat there as an untreated codependent. Because codependent love is not healthy love either. So think about it. This is really like keeping it real, big time, to help you heal and feel the fear and face your fear and get into therapy and start looking at those feelings and start feeling those feelings and learning how to focus on yourself and how to deal with, name, and feel and cope with your own emotions. Because without that, you're not going to go anywhere but in circles. Whether it's recycling with the same borderline or going to the next one or a narcissist and then a borderline. Patterns are what patterns are. And codependents have unhealthy patterns as well. So I hope this was helpful. Many people might not like it or want to hear it. You're going to have to face that choice point, whether you made it through this video or not. You're going to need to face that choice point at some point, unless you want to continue to want more and suffer more. Because if you want less, you'll suffer less. And that means letting that person go, facing yourself, which is extremely difficult and painful and scary for people with codependency.